Hello, folks. Dom Lawson here again. Just suddenly occurred to me that it might be nice to do nice, probably not the right word. It might be completely pointless and without any value whatsoever for me to do a quick review of the new Metallica EP, Beyond Magnetic, which they've issued in the midst of this 30-year celebration thing. I mean, say what you like about Lulu, and frankly, I did. Those gigs just looked amazing, and never mind all the special guests and stuff. Some of the, some, and I stress some, of the stuff in the set lists was fantastic, and who wouldn't have wanted to be there to witness that lot, particularly the bit when King Diamond was on stage with them. That would have just that would have been it for me. I would have lost my shit in the most embarrassing way possible, I think. But anyway, that 30th anniversary stuff is all well and good, and hooray for Metallica and all the rest of it, biggest metal band of all time, and that you can't really say fairer than that. And what they've done for their 30th anniversary is laudable and fair play. But what the problem for me still is that Lulu kind of looms over us as this kind of diabolical, poor decision that they made, and that ended up being one of the worst records I've ever heard in my life. And for me personally, they haven't made anything good really since the Black Album, and so any new music that they put out, I kind of approach with trepidation now, and really my optimism's been trampled on so many times now that. As much as there were bits of Death Magnetic that I liked, and even bits of St. Anger that I liked, it's just, you just desperately want Metallica to make a killer record again, and I know I'm not alone in that, and I know, obviously there are people that like the recent stuff, but I think in the main the hardcore metalhead Metallica fans are more likely to agree with me than somebody who thinks that Death Magnetic is a masterpiece, which plainly it isn't, But anyway, so they're these 4 tracks, which apparently are outtakes, I guess, or tracks that were written around the same time as Death Magnetic that didn't make the cut for the album. And I've actually I spent £3.49 on this today from iTunes just because I wanted to hear it, and it was just, the funny thing about this EP is well, it's not funny at all. Actually, it's irritating. The irritating thing about this EP is that all 4 of these songs are better than most of what's on Death Magnetic, and that I find my biggest bugbear with Metallica these days is that their decision making process is so shoddy. There's something wrong at the heart of whoever it is, and it may be Lars and it may not be Lars, but whoever it is at the heart of the Metallica decision making process has lost the plot, and has been losing the plot for a very long time. And you just think, there's that, I can't even remember the title of that god awful instrumental on Death Magnetic, but you listen to these 4 tracks. I'm pointing there because that's where my phone is. You listen to these 4 tracks and wonder who in their right mind thought that awful instrumental that was at least 5 minutes too long and had loads of bad riffs in it, who thought that was better than Hate Train? Who thought that was better than Just a Bullet Away? And at what meeting did they all sit around and go, actually, I think what this album needs is an aimless, meandering instrumental that doesn't really do anything good and goes on for 8 minutes, instead of these songs, which are actually much, much better than the majority of Death Magnetic. I think you could lose half of Death Magnetic, stick this EP on, and I would much prefer it. I still have issues with the production. I don't think the production's that great. The heavy guitar tone is just odd. It's too garagey. That's not what Metallica should sound like. And I know it's up to them, but fuck it, they should sound like a metal band, because that's what they are. They should at least have that crunch that they had on the Black Album, if nothing else. But instead, it's that kind of weird, slightly garagey hard rock kind of sound that frankly doesn't suit Hetfield's riffing style at all. But anyway. The drums sound badly recorded as well, but Lars makes a decent fist of these songs. He's not the issue, and actually, as I say, they are, they're good. I actually like this more than anything they've done as a record. I know it's only 4 songs, but as a record, I like it more than anything they've done for a long time. Actually, there are, I think, the songs are still too long. They're all kind of around the 7-minute mark, and again, this is I think is the problem with the Metallica's decision making process. Is it's either too many cooks or one person making all the decisions and getting it wrong. But you need to, for metal songs to really have impact, they need to be edited to perfection, and everything needs to be there. That no additional riffs that don't need to be there, no pointless detours into stuff that doesn't need to be there. They need to be succinct and to the point. And if that means succinct and to the point and 8 minutes long, like the song Master of Puppets, which is perfect, or if it means 3.5 minutes, like Hit the Lights or something, however long that is, there has to be that kind of ability to edit things down to the length and the structure that works best. And there's something flabby about Metallica songwriting, and there has been for a long time, and that again, that's one, I guess, downside to these 4 tracks. They could all have been shaved down by a minute or two at least. There's a couple of riffs in what's the last track, Rebel of Babylon, that just don't need to be there, and there's a kind of a sudden detour in Hell and Back, which again you just think, well, actually if you chop that bit out and just kind of made it a 4-minute song, it would have been better. But having said all that, there are glimpses of the Metallica that I love on these 4 tracks, and there wasn't really much of that on Death Magnetic, the first and last tracks aside. Most of it I found kind of flabby and disappointing, really, and just not, the riffs weren't all that, and the lyrics were a bit cringy and all the rest of it. The lyrics on this are better. Hetfield sings better on these 4 tracks, which is remarkable. Hate Train in particular, which I really, really like. I think the driving fast riff in the verses and stuff is great. It's very simple, basic riff, but it's killer, and Hetfield sounds great singing over it. So. It's a game of 2 halves, Brian. Basically, these are better songs than the Metallica have released recently. I think in the main, I say they're still too long, still a bit too much fanning around. It's not classic Metallica by any stretch of the imagination, but certainly I would say Hate Train and Just a Bullet Away are the 2 stronger of the 4, I think. But the other 2 are good as well. And I can see myself listening to this a few times, and actually putting it on for enjoyment rather than to go, what don't I like about this? Actually, I think it's pretty cool stuff. Does it bode well for the next studio album? Well, not really, because these were recorded at the same time as Death Magnetic, and if they didn't think these were good enough to go on Death Magnetic, then who knows what awful decisions they'll make when it comes to the next album. But, and obviously they're not going to listen to me, because they don't, probably, if they do know who I am, they probably know me as that prick that slagged off Lulu, so, whatever. But yeah, beyond Magnetic, I think it's probably worth £3.49 of your money if you're a Metallica fan, and if you've hated everything they've done recently, this isn't going to change your mind. I don't think it's going to suddenly make you think that they're back on top form or anything, because they're not. But I'm hoping that the combined effect of a positive response to this EP, which I think they'll get in the main, and the euphoria that those 30th anniversary shows has kind of incited among people, and all of us very jealous that we couldn't be there, and very excited by the special guests that came out and some of the songs that are in the set list that they haven't played for years, and all this. God knows why they chose to play 3 songs from Lulu. That's just inexplicable, really. But that. An exciting event, by a very important band, and I'm hoping that somewhere along the line they will remember what it was that made them great in the first place, and what that was precisely written, precisely structured, brilliantly conceived heavy metal songs that had a beginning, a middle and end, made total sense, had ripping solos, brilliant riffs, great lyrics, great vocals, not endless fanning around. And like I say, there's glimpses of that Metallica in these 4 tracks, so I'm quite cheered up by it, really. It's so much better than Lulu. I might just go and listen to it again just to remind myself that I do actually love Metallica, and it's great to hear them sounding cool and sounding like something I want to listen to, rather than I don't know. I haven't listened to Death Magnetic for at least 2 years, and I can't imagine that I'm ever going to listen to Lulu again. So this is a little ray of hope, maybe, and like I say, it's about fucking time, frankly. But anyway, the decision-making process, guys, needs reviewing. Seriously, you do something about that, because if you're cutting your best tracks off an album and putting shit ones on instead, then okay, it's just my opinion, but even so, come on, think about it. Have a word with yourselves, and then write a fucking brilliant Metallica album and shut people like me up, and that's what you need to do. Yeah, so there you go, little bonus sandwich for you, a mini baguette, if you will. Metallica Beyond Magnetic available from iTunes for the next week or so, I gather, and yeah, worth £3.49, I'd say. So that's your lot. Cheers. Thanks, folks. Goodbye. Oh no, no, this is goodbye. Goodbye.